And welcome, Mindsetters, to this session of Learn Extra Live. We're looking at grade 11 maths literacy. I'm Ty, and I'm here with Peter, who's going to be taking today's session. Peter, what's happening today?
Well, hi, Ty. Well, first of all, we're doing the good old paper one basic concepts today. Now, I know that they come across rather easy and they seem a little bit simple and everything else, but let me just tell you, Ty, I gave my matrics their prelim paper back. They went through it, and I said to them, how many of you did not understand one of the questions? And not one put their hand up. They understood every single question, but not one of them got 100%. I got one with 99%, a few about 95, a few just in the low 90s, but no one got 100%. So why do people not get 100% if they understand everything? It's all because of those horrid, stupid, silly, careless mistakes. And that's what we're going to try and overcome today.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
So I'll go there and you do your thing.
Okay, so Mindsetters, you know the drill by now. Make sure you get on the page. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're lost in it, if you need help, make sure you post on the Facebook page. It's www.facebook.com/learnextra. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And if you don't post, as I always say, I can't help you because I can't read your mind through the TV. So make sure you let us know on the Facebook page so I can get those questions to Peter and we can help you guys out. But for me, that's where I now hand over to Peter. Peter, take it away.
Right, folk. And please remember, most importantly, that if you're matric watching this, this is for you, okay? Because there's a great overlap with the syllabus in grade 11 and grade 12. And you grade 11s watching this, remember this as well. Next year, when you're tuning into our program, don't just tune in for the grade 12 program, but you tune in for the grade 11 one as well. Because again, why? There's such an overlap. So some of these questions that are in grade 11 that we're going to go through today, you might even see them come up in one of your final papers in matric. Yeah. Now that puts a new perspective on things, doesn't it? Okay, then the other thing, I have a little confession to make here. We haven't got a lot of material to go through today because we're relying on you to send us some of your questions. So Ty's going to be at the computer. He's waiting to get any little problems or hassles that you might have picked up, whether it was in your June exams, okay, or whether it was just something you were doing in class. No matter what the question is, please send it through to Ty. He will let me know, and then we can answer your question on live TV. That sounds great. Okay, let's get on with today's program. So here we go. Do the following calculations. Show all calculations in full, and I want to underline that. Show all calculations in full. Now, folks, there's been a bit of a debate about this because some examiners are saying, you know what, if a person takes a calculator and does the whole calculation in one shot and gets the final answer, surely he deserves full marks for that. And that's one argument, and I know I'm a firm believer in that as well. However, there are other people that argue and saying, no, we want to see every step the student is doing so that we can pick up maybe 1 mark here or 1 mark there. Now, to me, doing a calculator work, you should only be worth 1 mark, quite frankly, because you're not doing any work. You're just pushing a few buttons. Okay. However, this question tells us, show all your working, and as a humble man, okay, I'm going to do just that. It's like when the examiner tells you to do something, it's like listening to your wife one day, guys. You just do it. It might not make sense to you, but you just do it anyway. All right, so let's have a look at it. First thing, write 47% as a common fraction. Okay. So 47%. Again, guys, we always say this. Soon as I hear that word percent, what do? I know percent means out of 100. So 47% is going to be 47 over 100. Okay? And we are asked to write it as a common fraction. So there it is, 47 over 100. Now, do I need to simplify it? Well, yes, I do, if I can. Now, how do I know if I can simplify it? In other words, how do I know if there's a number that'll go into 47 and go into 100, and in so doing is going to reduce my fraction? Well, you don't need to know that. Why? Because you have a calculator. And because you have a calculator, that's going to do the work for you. So let's have a look at this. Let's take out our calculator, and we're going to say, right, we have a calculator here. We're going to push our fraction button, and we're going to type it as we see it on the screen. 47 over 100 equals, and there's our answer, 47 over 100. In other words, folk, there's nothing that can divide into 47 and into 100 to reduce that fraction. So my answer then remains 47 over 100. So straightforward, so easy, so basic, okay? But yet, those are type of questions that you're going to find in your paper one. And remember, those are the type of questions you could make silly mistakes on. So although you practice the hard ones, make sure you practice those easy ones as well. So you can pick up that paper one mark. And if you do very, very well in paper one, let's say you get 90% for paper one. Yeah, that's phenomenal, because now that acts as a cushion for your paper two. So if you're wanting to get an overall mark of, let's say, 80% for Maths Lit, and I've got 90 for paper one, it allows me to get 70% for paper two, and so thus allowing me to get 80. That's if my year mark, my CAS mark is also 18. I just presume you've worked very hard during the year, and you've done very well in your assignments, and you've got a good CAS mark. Okay. Now, next question. Simplify, let's just go back here quickly. Write down, or write 78 over 120 as a decimal fraction. In other words, we're going to get 0, comma, something, 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 something. So how do we do that? Well, it's actually quite easy. All we're going to do is look at this and say, you know, when I see 78 over 120, it's the same thing as saying 78 divided by 120. So let's do that, and let's see what our calculator does. So on the calculator now take note, I'm not doing my fraction button. Why? Because if I use my fraction button, look what happens. I get an answer, it's simplified, but it's still as a fraction. It's not as a decimal fraction. Now listen, to decimal means there's got to be a decimal comma somewhere. So we've got to have a decimal comma. All right. So let's just have a look at that. Now, what I can do is once I've done it on my calculator, I push this S to D button. And you can see there's a little arrow on that calculator on your screen right now. And that S to D button, look what happens. When I push it, it becomes a fraction. When I push it again, it becomes a decimal fraction. So I've now got 0,65. And that's my answer. I could have as well have done the following. I could have said 78 divided by 120. And when I did that, I would get 13 over 20, push the S to D, and I get 0,65. So my answer, 0,65. Decimal, there's my decimal, okay? I trust you're understanding this, okay? I trust it's coming quite easy to you. You're now in grade 11. You should have had a lot of this practice, okay? But sometimes we still get mixed up between a common fraction and a decimal fraction. So remember, decimal, there has to be a decimal. Right, my next question says this. Do the following. Simplify 1,2 meters plus 23,5 meters times 5 minus 4,7 meters. Okay, now take note, folk, that this is worth 2 marks. And because it's worth 2 marks, and because the examiner has said to you, hey, show you're working, we've got to do that, because the examiner's now allowed a mark for that working. Right? If it was 1 mark, we would just put it straight in our calculator because we're going to get 1 mark for the answer. He's given us 2 marks, and he's given the instruction, show me what you're doing. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to say I've got 1,2 meters plus. Now, let's have a look at that. We're going to do this part first, the 23,5 times the 5. And once we've got that answer, we're going to fill it in. And that's probably where the examiner is going to give you that other mark. And so we've got to do as that examiner says and show him. Okay, so out comes my calculator. Hopefully, yeah, there she is. And I'm now going to say, right, 23.5 multiply that now by 5, and I'll end up with an answer of 117,5. So I've got 117,5 meters. Now, let's add up or let's just do this calculation. My calculator is going to do it for me, right? I've got, let's clear it, 1.2 plus 117.5, and then I didn't have a look at this, minus 4,7. Minus 4.7, and my answer then equals 114. And that's what we're going to write down here, 114. Not just 114 though, hey? 114 what? Let's have a look at the question. 1,2 meters plus 117,5 meters minus 4,7 meters. So if my question is giving me certain units, my answer's also got to give me those units. So I've got 114 meters, and that's my answer. Okay? Time to move on. Simplify. A third times 3 squared, 3 cubed, plus the square root of 64. Take note of this, folks. 3 marks. Yeah, now to me, that's worth 1 mark. But obviously, this teacher who set this specific question is testing her students or his students' ability to do little parts of the calculation. So she's saying, or he's saying, listen, I know you can do it in 1 step, but just show me the little bits. And guys, if a question is for more than 1 mark, this kind of thing, show your little bits, okay? Because you're going to get marks for it. Hopefully, if you just jump straight to the answer, you'll get full marks for having got it correct. But if you jump straight to that answer and you get it wrong, you're going to get 0. But if you show the little bits, this examiner is going to give you the marks. Okay. By the time you get to matric, guys, I don't know if you're going to get a question like this. And if you do, it's probably going to be worth 1 mark. We just want to see that answer. If you can't get that answer right, it's wrong. But let's have a look. So here I know. I've got a third times. Now I've got 3 cubed. And so many times people will look at 3 cubed and say, that's so easy. 3 times 3 is 9. And Ty, I presume our producer just said that as well back there, okay? I know that she sits there and calls out answers, okay? And she would have probably said this, this is easy, 3 times 3 is 9. But 3 cubed means 3 times 3 times 3. And we know that 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3, 27. But again, our calculator can do that for us. So what we could have done is we could have taken out our calculator. Oops, it came up and went away. It's back again. All right. We could have said, you know what? Let's find 3 cubed. Answer 27. And now what we're doing is we're going to try and find the square root of 64. What's that mean? It means what times what is going to give me 64. And we know that 8 times 8 is going to give me 64. Well, most of us know. If we don't know, use your calculator. So we're going to say, all right, I'm going to find the square root of 64 equals, voila, there it is, it's 8. So we're now going to write 8. Now what do we have to do? Well, now we've got to say, okay, let's do this part first. Why do we do this part first? Because multiplication always comes before addition. So we're going to say, what is 1 over 3 times 27? Or what's a third of 27? In other words, what times what times what, or what times 3 rather, is going to give me 27. And we know the answer's 9, but let's pretend we don't know that. And we're going to say, right, fraction button, 1 over 3 times 27 equals, and I get my answer of 9 plus 8. And folks, 9 plus 8 we know is 17. So there's nothing hard about that. However, I do want to bring one thing to your attention. This is what a student of mine did the other day. A third times 27. It wasn't the exact same sum, but it was something similar. And this is what they did on the calculator. Let's have a look at this. What they did was they said, right, I've got a fraction button, I've got a third, And then instead of coming out of the fraction, they stayed at that bottom line. So they said 1 over 3, now watch how it shows on your screen, times 27. Look what's happening. The 27 has just been multiplied by the 3 and not by the 1 over 3. And then they got this wonderful answer of 1 over 87. And was absolutely horrified as to why they got it wrong. Okay. And guys, you know what? And we say this often, and next year when you watch the grade 12 program, you're going to hear me repeat this over and over. But when you are writing that final matric paper, geez, you're anxious, you're nervous, you're tense, you're worried. And it's so easy to make silly, careless, ridiculous mistakes. It really is. And that's like one of them. Okay, so check yourself and always ask yourself, does my answer make any sense? Let's go on to our next one. Our next question is this. Calculate 14% VAT on 24,650. Oh my giddy aunt, we've done so many of those. Let me tell you something, grade 11. This kind of question comes up quite often in the matric final paper. You've got to know how to do it. Now, as soon as we see the word percent, I know that means over 100. So I've got 14 over 100. Multiplied by 24,650. So let's do it. So we're going to take our calculator, clear it, fraction button, 14 over 100 multiplied by 24,600, and I think it was 50, was it? It was indeed 50. Equals, and there's my answer, 3,451. 3,451 rand. Okay. These are basic little things, hey guys? But that's what paper one's all about, the basic things. And when you look at it, you sit there thinking, oh, that's so easy. Why is he even going through that? Well, if it's so easy, why doesn't the whole country get 100% for this paper? Okay? Why is it that so many people don't even get an A or a level 7 for this paper? 80%. Why? Because of silly mistakes. So you've got to practice, and we're going to do more and more and more, even in your grade 12 year. Let's move on. My next question. Convert the following. Oh, love these things, hey? Come up so often. Convert 1,500 Rand into euros. Use the conversion that 1 Rand is equal to 0.11 euros. So I've got 1 Rand equaling 0.11 euro. But I don't want to know the value of 1 Rand. I want to know the value of 1,500 Rand. So we need to say to ourselves, okay, myself, what did I do to that 1 Rand to make it 1,500 Rand? I multiplied by 1,500. So what am I going to do on the other side? The exact same thing. We're also going to multiply by 1,500. In fact, let me repeat that. We're not going to multiply. Our calculator is going to multiply. So out it comes. We clear our calculator and we say 0.11 multiplied by 1,500 Rand. Now, just want to ask you something before we look at the answer. Which has more value, the euro or the rand? And it's the euro, isn't it? Because 1 Rand is worth only 11 euro cents. Cool? So the euro carries more value. So if I've got 1,500 Rand, do I expect a smaller than 1,500 Rand, or do I expect an answer greater than 1,500? I'm expecting an answer smaller. Okay, hopefully. Let's have a look. See if our calculator agrees with us. And it does indeed. It's saying it's only worth 165 euros. Right. Time for a break?
I think so. That would be a good move.
Can I just ask before we have the break, though, are we having any questions or not yet?
Not as yet. Pretty much just everyone's enjoying the show, as per usual.
Grade 11s, I'm sure some of you have a question. I'm sure some of you have a problem. Please send it in to us while we've got this break. And who knows, we might just be mentioning your name on air. All right.
All right. So as Peter said, Hey, you never know. We might get a quick shout out there in. But make sure you get to the page and post. Let us know what you're thinking. If you're lost and if you need help, let us know. But for now, I'm going to see you after this break. And welcome back, Mindsetters. Hope you had a nice little break there. You went to do whatever you had to do. You went to the bathroom. You got yourself something to drink, a snack, whatever you had to do. Now you need to be focused back here, paying attention, your pens, pads out, and ready to make notes. As I always say, make sure you tell a friend to get on the page and get chatting to us. But on that note, I just want to actually send a quick shout out to Mohotsi. Hey, what's up, my guy? Thank you for posting on the page and keeping track of what I'm doing. But anyway, moving on. Peter, take it away.
Great, guys. And remember, we said to you, if you got a question, please let us know. Now, I should have spelt this out, and it's entirely my fault. Guys, we're talking if you have a question about mathematical literacy. So to the guys who sent us a physics question, thanks very much, but I'm not going to actually be able to help you on that one. In fact, if I did, you could fail your physics, especially if it was a chemistry question.
Yes.
So let me rephrase myself. If you got a question about mathematical literacy, please let us know, and I'll be more than willing to try and assist you with it, okay? The chemistry, the physics, no, and the especially the life science. Hey, I can't even pronounce some of those words, okay? Right, today, if you've just joined us, what we're doing is we're looking at a whole lot of paper one questions, the very basic type concepts, basic type questions, but questions that should allow your paper one to get as close to 100% as possible, okay? And the only reason we don't do that, in fact, what I tell my class is this: hey, great, guys, I wish to let you know you all got 100% for that paper. And they all smile and their faces light up. It's like, oh, yeah. I say minus the careless mistakes, okay? And it's because they all know what they're doing, but those horrible mistakes. So, guys, you have to practice these. Even though you look at them and say, oh, that's so easy, got to practice. Increase 1,250 Rand by 24%. So what they're actually saying is this, that I've got 1,250 Rand. I'm going to increase, so there's a plus sign. And I'm going to increase that by 24%. In other words, I've got to find 24% of 1,250 Rand. And remember, in mathematical terms, when we hear the word of, we know that means multiply. Okay, now we just sit back, pull out our calculator, and let that do the work for us. So let's look at it. So we're going to say, right, I've got 24%, fraction button, 24 over 100 multiplied by 1,250 Rand equals 300 Rand. So we've now got 300 Rand here. So 24% of 1,250 is 300. We're going to now add these two numbers together, and we're going to get our answer. I've already got 300 plus 1,250 Rand equals, and obviously, folk, my answer is going to be 1,550 Rand. 1,550 Rand. Okay, next question. Says this: calculate the number of 30-gram portions of jam that can be obtained from a 450-gram tin. Geez, that sounds like a kind of complicated question. There's a lot of wording there, hey? But what they're basically saying is this: you go off to your local supermarket and you buy some jam. All right? What jam do you enjoy?
Apricot.
Apricot. Okay. Ty likes apricot, I like fig jam. All right. So, but anyway, you go off to a shop and you buy some jam. And now you're going to decant. In other words, you're going to take the jam out of this horrible tin. Because understand something, that if you own a restaurant or something, you can't take a tin of jam and plonk it on the table and say, here's your jam, enjoy your breakfast. Oh, it doesn't look good. So we're going to take this 450-gram tin and we're going to put it in little containers. Okay? And each container is going to have approximately 30 grams worth of jam in it. So how many of those can we do? Well, it's straightforward, isn't it? Okay, we got 450 grams divided by 30 grams. So let's do that. So we got 450 gram tin. We're going to divide it by 30 grams to work out how many we need. And again, our calculator is going to do that work for us. We don't want to hurt ourselves, so we let the calculator do the thinking for us. Okay, equals 15. So I've got 15 portions. How many portions? 15. Next question. Determine, let's just go down here. Determine the cost of 6 bus tickets using the formula, the cost of bus tickets equals the number of bus tickets times 12 Rand 15. Oi, guys, this is so basic. It's so straightforward. But we make mistakes when we do this, eh? Silly little things. Even pushing calculator buttons, and sometimes we'll push 12.15 and we push 12 point, and then we hit the one, but we don't hit it hard enough, so we get 12.5, and then that's how we make mistakes. Okay. So although we may understand the basic concepts, we've got to make sure we don't make mistakes in implementing them. All right. So we know we have got, let's go, the number of bus tickets, and there's 6 that we're buying. Why? Because the question tells us so. Times 12 Rand 15. Why times 12 Rand 15? Probably because every bus ticket costs 12 Rand 15. Okay, so we've got 6 times 12 Rand 15 equals, and S to D, 72 Rand 90. Like, this is all about learning today. So I'm going to teach you something that I tell my students all the time. And this is a little golden rule that we have. And the golden rule is this. When you've typed something out on your calculator, before you push equals, check that top screen. I'm going to do the following for you, and you pick up something here for me. Okay, so we're going to say 6 times 12 Rand 15. Okay, so let me do it again on the calculator. Let's go. 6 times 12 Rand 15. Right? Can you see the mistake I made? So I forgot to push the point. Now, guys, so many of us, what we do is we're looking at our question and we're looking at the calculator. And we're saying, all right, 6 times 12, 15, yeah, equals. And we haven't seen that we've made a mistake on the screen. So always check your screen. And that's what I always say to my boys. Before you push equals, look at that screen. So now I'm looking at my screen and say, oh, how silly. Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay? So let's go back here and put in a point. There we go. 6 times 12, 15 equals, now I get my answer. Or we go like this. 6 times 12, 15. Okay? And the one that we've pushed hasn't registered. Now, if I'm looking at my screen, before I push equals, I'm going to look and say, 6 times 120, there's something wrong here. Hold on, what happened? Okay. And then we'll pick up our mistakes. Right. Next one. Question 2. Mr. Morai, the gardener at a school, created a circular flower bed in a rectangular lawn, as shown in the diagram alongside. The radius of the flower bed is 1,5 meters. Okay, rule number 1, chaps. When I see this word, I'm going to underline it. Why? Because I know I'm dealing with a radius. Now, all my formulas that I deal when I'm dealing with length, when I'm dealing with area or dealing with volume, require radius. Sometimes in questions, they say the diameter. And whenever you see diameter, diameters are a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. Get rid of it. Cross out the diameter, write radius equals, and divide the diameter by 2. Because very seldom do you use diameter. It's normally always the radius. Got that? So from now on, when you're reading and you read the diameter, say, oh, I remember that guy on TV. He said, thou shalt not use diameter. Cross it out and write radius equals. Take whatever they've given you. So if they've said diameter is 30, cross out diameter and write radius equals. Well, if the diameter is 30, the radius must be 15. Got to do that. Get into that habit. These are good habits to get into. Not like smoking and drinking and drugs and all that. Good habit. Get rid of diameter, make it radius. Okay, so the radius of the flower bed is 1,5 meters. the length of the rectangular lawn is 6 meters and the breadth is 4 meters. Now, just in case you didn't understand that, the examiner's been very nice by putting it on a diagram for you. Now the question is this. Calculate the following. Calculate the area of this flower bed. Area is pi times r squared, where pi is 3,14 and the r is the radius. I say this every week. I will say it every week. When you're in matric, you'll hear me say it over and over again. Gentlemen, ladies, if you get given a formula in a question, you have to use the formula. You must. It's compulsory. Okay? Because no examiner is going to give you a formula if you don't require it. Now, I say this on a regular basis to my students. And today I had a group of grade 11s come into my class, and I wanted to wring their necks because I gave them back their July paper. And some of the boys, not all of them, only about one or two, but some of them, what they actually did was they tried to solve a question or try to answer a question without using the formula that was given to them. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why do that to yourself? You know you're on the wrong path when you're not using information that's been given to you. Okay, so we are trying to find the area of this garden. So let's do that straight away. We told that the area is equal to pi times r squared. Now we know what pi is. There it is, 3,14 times the radius. And the radius we knew was 1,5 meters. There it is there on our diagram. So 1,5 meters. But we're not just putting 1,5 meters, but we're saying, hey, we got to square it. The number of candidates that forget to square the radius in a final matric paper is scary. Okay, that's just a silly mistake. You know what to do. Okay, but you forget to do it. Why? You're tense, you're anxious, so that's why you got to practice these. Right, so now our calculator is going to do the work for us. So we take out our calculator and we say, right, we have 3.14 multiplied by 1.5 squared equals, and my answer is going to be 7,065. So my answer, 7,065. 7,065 what? Meters, because we're dealing in meters. So it's going to be meters squared. Why squared? Because area is always squared. Perimeter is always the unit. Area is the unit squared. And of course, volume, the unit cubed. Okay. Ty, I think I'm going to need this answer later on. So I'm going to ask you to try and remember it for me or copy it down on your computer thing on a Word document or something. And just write area equals 7,065. And so when I ask you, you're just going to have all the answers at your fingertips.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Let's move on. Next question. Calculate the perimeter of the rectangular lawn. What does perimeter mean? Well, here it gives it to us. It says perimeter equals 2 times the length plus the breadth. And we know what perimeter is. Perimeter is if I start at one point and I walk all the way along. There I am walking, get to a corner. And so I'm walking, get to the corner, whoop. And I walk and I walk and I walk and I walk and I get to another corner. Okay? So let's do this. So here I am, I'm walking, get to the corner, and I realize I've walked 6 meters. Now I'm going to walk in that direction and I'm going to walk for 4 meters because I know that's 4 meters. So away I go and off I go and I walk for 4 meters. Now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do 90 degrees and walk for another 6 meters. Once I've done that, I do a 90 degree, and I'm now walking back 4 meters, okay? And I've now got back to my point of starting. So there I am, okay? So what we've got now is my whole perimeter, and so what have I done? I've walked 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 meters. The formula, perimeter equals 2 times the length, which was 6 meters, plus the breadth, which was 4 meters. 2 times 6 plus 4, 10 meters. 2 times 10, 20 meters. Okay? How simple is that? If we didn't have the formula, I'm sure you could have done it anyway, because you would have said 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 6 is 16, plus 4 is 20. Sure, basic stuff. Right, let's have a look at our next question on that. So, next question. Calculate the length of the lawn in feet if 1 meter is 3,25 feet. Okay. Now, what's the length of the lawn? The length of the lawn is 6 meters, isn't it? So we don't want 1 meter, we want 6 meters. But let's write this down. We know 1 meter is equal to 3, oops, let's try that again. There we go. Right, equals 3,25 feet. We don't want 1 meter, we want 6 meters. So 6 meters, how did I get that 1 to be 6? We times by 6. What am I going to do here? Multiply by 6. So 3.25 times 6. And again, folks, I'm not going to do it because it's going to hurt me. So I'm just going to say 3.25 multiplied by 6. And my final answer there is going to give me 19,5. So I've got 19,5 meters. And there it is there. Straightforward, basic, nothing too difficult about that at all. Ty?
I think we might be ready for an ad break.
I think we are.
All right, so mindsetters, make sure you guys get on the page. Let me know if you're thinking, if you're lost anywhere, if you just had fun watching that magic trick that just happened. Make sure you get on the page. Let us know. Post. But for now, we're going to see you after this break. And welcome back, Mindsetters. Hope you had a nice little break there. You went to do whatever you had to do. If you had to go put your bags down, if you had to go change out your uniform, if mom said take out the onions, you did all of that. Now you need to focus and pay attention. Now make sure you've got your pens and pads out and you're ready to make notes, because we're going to continue right now. And I'm going to hand you straight over to Peter. Peter, take it away.
Right, folks. We've got to look at another question. So far what we've done is we've looked at little individual questions. What we're now going to do is we're going to look at a new scenario. But within that huge scenario, we've got tiny little questions. So it's like still basic paper 1 questions, okay? But it's now in the form of a story or in a specific scenario. Okay, let's read this. Learners were invited to enter a national essay writing competition. The 70 winners attended a youth forum in Johannesburg. A survey was done to find out how many winners came from each province. The results are given in the table alongside. Okay, so we have a group of learners and they enter a national competition. Okay, it's an essay writing competition. And incidentally, if you're watching this, we've got some sort of competition that somebody's going to come into the studio and talk about, but they're going to come in at around about 6:45, all right? And it's all about maths. So you guys stay glued and watch that, all right? He's going to be in here. He's going to take over half my matric show, I kid you not, to talk about that. But I think it's probably a worthwhile cause. So it gets you guys involved with some national competition. I don't know what it's all about, so I can't wait to hear about it, okay? But in these students, they're writing or get involved with a national essay competition. They write a story, and 70 of them get selected, okay, as the top 70 essays. And they all get invited to one specific place. Don't know why, but they do. And there they are. And while they're there, they do a survey. Someone's bored, obviously, and says, right, we would like to know what province you are from. And of the 78 say, hey, we come from the Eastern Cape. 6 say we come from the Free State. 10 say we're from Gauteng. 11 say we're from KwaZulu-Natal. 8 say from Limpopo. 7 Mpumalanga. 5 from Northern Cape. 6 from North or West Province. And 9 from good old Western Cape. Okay. Now, we're going to ask you some questions on this. What percentage of the winners came from Mpumalanga? So let's have a look at it. We've got 7 of them. 7 out of 70. So we know now that we've got 7 of the 70 are from Mpumalanga. And of those, we've got to change it to a percent because the question says what percent. So all we're now going to do is say, all right, we've got 7 over 70 multiplied by 100. And we get an answer of 10. So we know now it's going to be 10%. Okay? Nothing hard about that. Let's have a look at another question. Can you understand that the questions are still very basic, folk? There's nothing suddenly hard about it. There's still basic questions, but they're within a lovely little story. Okay, so now it says calculate the ratio of the number of winners from Gauteng to the number of winners from the Northern Cape. Now in Gauteng we had 10 winners, and the Northern Cape, where are we? We had 9. Okay. Sorry, that's Western Cape. We're looking for Northern Cape. Do you see how easy it is to make a silly mistake? So we're looking for the Northern Cape. Where are we? Here we go here. So I've got to go up one. There we go. We just move the circle. Right. So we want the ratio of Gauteng to the Northern Cape. So we've got Gauteng to the Northern Cape. There were 10 winners in Gauteng and only 5 in the Northern Cape. What's the ratio 10 is to 5? It's going to be 2 is to 1. Let me show you how we work that out. And again, we can use our calculator to do that, folk. All right, you don't have to sit and struggle through it. Use your calculator. So I've got 10 is to 5, and I'm going to do that on my calculator. Now, unfortunately, I can't write 10.5. Okay, that's just not going to work. So I'm going to do it as though it's a fraction. So we push our fraction button, and we say 10 over 5 equals, and my answer is 2, or 2 over 1. Do you agree? 2 is the same as 2 over 1. But I can't write it as 2 over 1 because the question was 10 is to 5. So I've got to give my answer as something to something. So 10 is to 5 is equal to 2 is to 1. And that's what I've got over there. Right, moving on. My next question states this. Suppose one of the winners is chosen randomly. What is the probability? And here we come again to probability. And I'm glad we did, because my producer absolutely loves probability questions. She always says to me, are we having another probability question? I hope so. I love them. They're absolutely phenomenal. And I know she's sitting back behind us in the studio. There's a wonderful room way behind over here where they sit with coffee. And last Saturday they had pizzas and all kinds of things. And we sit here and do the work. But she's probably sitting there now choking on her pizza and her coffee saying, oh, great probability, can't wait for some more. Okay, so suppose one of the winners is chosen randomly. What's the probability that the learner is from the Eastern Cape? Let's go look at our table. How many Eastern Capeans do we have? Eastern Cape, still going up looking. There they are. There are 8 of them. So we've got a total now of 8 over total 70. So my probability is 8 over 70. But remember, we've got to simplify it, folk. And we are not simplifying it if we just leave it 8 over 70. We've got to see if something will divide into 8 and into 70. So I say to myself, what will go into 8 and what will go into 70? Well, you don't even need to ask yourself that, because your calculator will do it for you. So out comes our calculator, and we are saying we've got 8 over 70 equals, and we get an answer of 4 over 35. There it is there. My next question. What's the probability that the learner is from South Africa? Now let's have a look. Guys, this is South Africa. Free State's in South Africa. Gauteng's in South Africa. In fact, these are all South African provinces. So all 70 of the winners out of 70 are from South Africa. In other words, if one of the learners walked past me and I grabbed him, I'd say, right, you come here. What's the probability you're from South Africa? Well, it's 100% probability, isn't there? There has to be, because all the learners are only from South Africa. So my probability is a probability of 1. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Again, very simple, basic little questions, but guys, they're quite exciting stuff. All right. Now, next question, we ask for graph. And what they actually say is this. Draw a vertical bar graph to represent the data in table 1 on the grid provided. Okay, so here is our grid, and we're now drawing bar graph, and the name bar graph tells me there has to be bars. And guys, it's quite simple. I'm not even going to do it all because it's so straightforward, okay? Eastern Cape. How many winners were from the Eastern Cape? 8. So all we're going to do is we're going to say, right, I've got 8 winners, and I'm going to try and draw a straight line, as straight as I can. So here we go. We've got 8 winners, okay? 8 winners, and there is my bar. And I'm just going to shade it in just so the examiner can see that there's 8, okay? Then I'm going to look at the free state. And the free state, I know there were 6 winners. So again, I'm going to draw a straight line up to 6. And there we go to 6. Oops, there we go. And there we go to 6. Sorry, I've made a little bit of a mess here. My line's gone all skew. All right? You're not going to do that because you're going to have a lovely ruler. And then we're going to shade all that in to show there's 6. And for Gauteng, we're going to do the same. We're going to see that in Gauteng, there are actually 10 winners. And so we're going to draw a line up to 10. Now, what I want you to take note of here, and I'm going to do it in a different color, notice the space, all right? Because we are dealing with a bar graph. And if it wasn't a bar graph, if all the graphs were touching, it would be a big meshy graph, okay? But I want to see individual bars. Got that? So I'm going to leave spaces between the different bars. Let's move on to our next question. Now, a train timetable is displayed for the traveling from Durban to Bloemfontein and then to Kimberley. Okay, so there we are. We're getting on the train. We're getting on the Shoshalos Merrill, and we're getting on at Durban, and off we're going to go. Now, this last December, I had the wonderful opportunity, or not last December, this last holiday now, of getting on a train and going from Joburg all the way down to Cape Town, and then from Cape Town all the way back to Joburg. Fantastic experience. I really enjoy the train, especially when you get one of these sleeper ones, these compartments, and you can make a bed and lie there and watch the whole world go by, watch that Karoo and everything. Fantastic. But I get sidetracked. Let's move on. We got 3 minutes. Now, here's my timetable. It tells me that from Durban to Bloemfontein to Kimberley only operates from Durban on Wednesdays. Okay, that's kind of important. So I know that when I leave Durban, and here it is here, I'm going to leave at 18:30. What's 18:30? 6:30 in the evening. Okay, now when I leave at 18:30, it means it's 18:30 on a Wednesday. How do we know that? Because we only leave on a Wednesday. Folk, 18:30 is not 8:30, right? I had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful grandmother. And she used to catch the train all the time from Durban to Bloemfontein. And I remember clearly her saying 18:30 means 8:30. Okay? And guess what? She missed the train. We had to pile her in the car and trace all the way up to Maritzburg to try and get her on the train there because we were so late. 18:30, just take away 2 hours, and you've got 6:30. All right. Now, on which day of the week does the train from Durban arrive in Kimberley? So let's have a look at that. So we are leaving over here, and it's a Wednesday. And we are going to travel, take note, we go past midnight, all the way to the next day at 14:50. And 14:50 is 2:50 or 10 to 3 in the afternoon. But it's the next day. So if we leave on Wednesday, that's going to be a Thursday. Okay, next question. We still got the timetable, and the question says, how long did the total journey take? Write your answer in hours. Okay, so if we are leaving at 18:30, from 6:30 to midnight, okay, we're leaving at 6:30 in the evening, so it's 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30 and a half. So I've got 5.5 hours already. So I've got 5.5 hours now from midnight to 10 to 3. So we've got 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm going too carried away here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2. So that's already 14 hours. Okay? Plus an extra 50 minutes. So what we're going to do is say, right, we got 5 hours, 30 minutes, plus 14 hours, 50 minutes, and then all we've got to do is add it up. And my producer's telling me I don't have time to do that. because I can't believe it. It's the end of the show already.
It flies past so
It really
quickly,
does.
and I'm just scanning through the page, and I'm just like, it's already over. It's always just so over so quickly. But anyway, Mindset, I just want to say thank you so much for posting on the page. Thank you for letting us know what you guys are thinking. I was actually asked for a special request from a Nikita Pillay. I just want to say, hey, how you doing? Saw your post there. Thank you for asking. But anyway, Mindsetters, thank you for joining us today. Hope you have a good day. And make sure you study, 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 and catch us whenever we are on. But for now, this is where I sign off as Ty and say thank you very much for joining us, and see you next time. Cheers.